Hey, my name is Kyle Rush, and you are watching the No Counts Given podcast.
Rebel Athletics dance costumes are designed for performance and crafted for confidence. From your warm-up to your final pose, every move feels better in Rebel level quality. These costumes are built to move with your dancers, with premium fabrics and show-stopping embellishments that let your team shine no matter what the stage looks like. And with endless customization options, you can work with Rebel's team of real fashion designers to create a look that's completely your own. Whether it's a smart value style starting under $200 or a one-of-a-kind supernova crystal design that outshines the competition, finish off your look with the only dance puff palms in North America, in stock in 10 vibrant colors. Also available with hands-free straps. The Rebel Puff Palms give your dancers a winning combo that's perfect for show-stopping routines. Rebel Athletics takes you from head to toe with everything your team needs. Costumes, warm-ups, practice wear, palms, accessories, and more. All customized with your team's colors and logo. Each dancer's items arrive individually packaged and labeled, so there's no sorting to do, making distribution fast, easy, and stress-free. Why fit in when you were born to rebel against the ordinary? Visit rebelathleticdance.com to explore our dance lookbooks and get started on your best season yet. Rebel Athletic, built for champions, designed for you.
All right, Amanda Gaines.
Hello.
Welcome back onto the show.
Thank you.
From the very first guest of my podcast to here.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
If you can wrap up national season in one word, give me the word.
Oh my gosh, roller coaster.
Roller coaster.
Yeah.
Where do you think the roller coaster started?
Gosh, I think probably like the end of Nationals 2025.
Honestly.
Like even now I'm like, we get on the plane to Florida and I'm already like, okay, so what are we going to do next year, right? Like the roller coaster, you never really get off the roller coaster, to be honest. But yeah, I think, for us, as we were kind of thinking through this season, we had a lot of ideas, a lot of concepts, some visions, really early on. And so I think there was a lot of planning and just discussion that happened, well before we had even wrapped the previous season. I guess technically like the 2025-2026 season didn't really start till July.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think, we got on the roller coaster then and it was a really smooth ride the whole year. Like I genuinely this has been such an enjoyable season for me. I think the vibe of the team was just, they are so fun. They work so hard and they were so hungry. And I think hungry wasn't necessarily about like hungry to win, right? Yes, like we're all competitive, like you want to get first place. Yeah. But I think that hunger was really just about being able to, our nationals kind of mantra was prove there's more. And I think there was just like a lot of hunger from the team to be able to show like there is more to Minnesota than what maybe a lot of people think there is. Like in terms of we can do more than just technique. We can do more than just turns, right? We can dance, we can perform, we can push ourselves in new ways. And I think too, when you think about the longevity of the success that the team has had, as more and more people start to get invested in this space, there's a lot of conversation around I'm so over Minnesota. And it's like, cool, yeah, like we won our first national championship before anyone on the team was even born. Period. Right? And
that's a legacy.
It's a legacy.
Yeah.
And I think they were hungry to prove that like Minnesota still deserves to be where we're at. Like it is not just because of the name. It's because of what we're putting on the floor. It's because of the work that we're doing.
Absolutely.
I would actually argue that like these teams that have these legacies are actually like, I'm not going to say judged at a higher standard because I think the judges are good at their job, right? Like they're like, I think the judges know what they're doing. That's why they're judging at this level. But I do think that like for external people, there is this expectation of what Minnesota should look like.
Yeah.
And I do think like it's harder to impress people after 23 years.
It really is.
And so I think that hunger from the team was really about proving that there's more and proving that like we do still deserve to be here even after 23 years.
Incredible. Okay, so let's talk about some of the conversations that started because I would love your opinion on some of them. The first one that I feel like I saw really start unraveling after UDA was co-ed divisions. I roll when I heard the conversation, but I'm curious, what are your thoughts on like co-ed divisions being at a national championship like a UDA or a DTU or an NDA?
I think if we want to go to a co-ed division, before we're ready to get there, we need to see more
Men on the team?
Men on the team,
I
right?
agree.
I think I would argue if every single category was only being won by teams that also had males on the team, then maybe there would be an argument.
Yeah.
There were plenty of divisions and categories that are won with all female teams. I get, yes, like males can do certain things that maybe females can't. Like anatomy is different. Guess what? There's also a lot that females can do that men, you know, everybody loves Matt Greco on Minnesota. Ask Matt Greco to do a walkover front or back and you will see not something he can do, right?
Matt,
so it's like,
I need him to stitch this and give us that back walkover.
But so I think like it can go both ways.
Yeah.
I get like, I think that is an easy target.
It is.
If you disagree with results. I think if it got to the point where we had enough males competing that it would warrant a co-ed category, amazing.
Yeah.
But I also don't think we're there yet.
It doesn't make sense.
And I don't think it's fair to say that one boy or 10 boys on a team, I think you're discrediting teams if you're saying they're only successful because there are males on the team, because I would argue those males are training just as hard. They are, I think, again, talk about being held to a higher standard. I think males in this space, because there are fewer, are held to a maybe not a higher standard, but a different standard.
Yeah.
And so I think if you want to see a co-ed division, you have to create space for there actually to be more males to warrant that being a competitive space. But I don't think what we're asking the males to do is that different than what we're asking the females to do.
We also would, I think about D1A with the co-ed division. The co-ed division would be so small right now.
Right.
There'd probably be 4 teams.
Well, across
maybe.
any division. Across any division. Right. And so, like, I just don't think and I think for that conversation to suddenly come into play, there have actually been males competing at UDA for years.
Yes.
As social media has exploded, yes, you're getting more and more teams, but, you know, and for the record, you know, like I don't compete in hip hop. I have no skin in the game in that category. But, you know, when you look at the hip hop industry, that is inundated with males. Yes. Why is that a bad thing that they are now looking at college dance team as another option for continuing to pursue their dance career?
No, I agree. Okay, the next one, I don't remember if we talked about this in our last episode. Maybe we did. Another conversation which I feel like we see time and time again is about the jazz division. Yeah. Do we, or should we, or should they, I guess is the real question. Should we be separating so that way there could be a jazz division and a lyrical, maybe / contemporary, you know how they do it in the All-Star? Yeah.
You know, I've had this conversation a lot with a lot of different coaches.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't think any of us necessarily, well, I don't want to speak for like all coaches. Yeah. I think the few that I've talked to, I don't think that we necessarily like want to see jazz split into jazz and lyrical, because I would argue then like, you could do that with hip hop too, right? Like, okay, am I going, like, I could have and again, this is going to just show my lack of knowledge, but like, okay, I want a breaking category versus like,
and then a popping category.
You know what I mean? Like, we could get really nuanced all the way through all the categories.
I like that perspective. I never thought of that.
I think what I love about what it's called is jazz right now, there is so much room for artistry there, right? When you look at people that have a lot of opinions about this space of like dance isn't a sport, when you're watching jazz, I get where maybe you're like, that feels more artistic, right? But I have a hard time like watching a pom routine and being like, these aren't athletes, right? Yeah. So I do think there is beauty in there being so much room for innovation and artistry, and just each team really being able to lean into what their individual strengths are. Yeah. I also don't think you necessarily want to like water down the national championship by like adding more and more divisions, right? Where I think there's probably room for clarity is more just like, what are these different competitions? What are they actually, I don't want to say looking for, but what do they want to celebrate, right? Like, am I going to celebrate technique and execution? Am I going to celebrate more the performance and innovation? And that's not to say that teams don't have both, but I think as you know, as a coach, as you're planning, as you're thinking like, okay, who do I want to bring in as a choreographer? Where do I want to invest my time and my money? Do I want to really lean into the staging element and the concept? Do I really want to lean into the movement quality? Like, so I think those are where like, and not to say that that doesn't exist, but I do think like that is the nature of what we do, that personal preference can easily come into play. But I would also argue that could come into play in any category, right? Like you see it in pom too, right?
Oh, for sure.
Do I like a more traditional pom?
Yes.
Do I like something that feels like it's maybe like more thematic?
Yes.
Do I like something that maybe feels like it's leaning more like hip hop? Like I think that it makes what we do seem really elementary if you're saying it should just be like, we need jazz, we need lyrical. Like, I don't think that's fair to what the athletes and the choreographers and the coaches are working towards. I think there's room for us to clarify what different competitions want to celebrate. And, you know, we did have this conversation at the first one because we talked about that for ICU, right?
Yes.
That is the specific reason why we switched from a woman's work to a different routine, because ICU is very clear that they want something more traditionally like uplifting or upbeat versus a very emotional, sad, lyrical piece. So we were very intentional with switching because of that. And so I think like, does a competition need to explicitly state like no lyrical? No, they don't.
But it would be good to know like what they are, what's going to help you on the score card. Get at least higher. Like what is the intention we're going for? What is it that you're looking for? I even think this could tie in because I would say like with judges. I guess this brings me to another question. Do you think it would be helpful to know who's judging the competitions earlier on in the season, just because you know their background, kind of their preferences?
Not necessarily. I don't think you necessarily need to know like earlier in the season. I think that falls on coaches to like trust the competition that they're going to go to, right? Like trust that the people in charge know what they're doing and are able to hire qualified people. I have never questioned the qualifications of a judge, right? Especially at that level. At the collegiate level, I've been around long enough. I'm not questioning the qualifications of a judge. I think people seeking transparency in judging is different than questioning the qualifications of judges. And I think sometimes like people are like, well, if they were more transparent, I could trust that they're qualified. No, you should just trust that they're qualified. Like if you don't trust that they're qualified, why are you even going? Right? That's on you as a coach for even going if you can't trust. I think where there could be value is knowing who is on your panel at any given time. And to be fair, the judges are there. You can easily look up and see, right? So that's not like, I think sometimes people just don't put two and two together. It's on the website. You can click like college. They sent a couple weeks in advance, hey, here's the bios of every judge to all the coaches. So all you had to do was look, okay, here's who could be on the jazz panel. So I very easily could go out, look at the judges who are right there and be like, oh, 1, 2, 3. What we don't necessarily know is who is on like the choreography score sheet versus who is on the execution score sheet. Is there value in knowing that? Maybe. Where I would actually push with the judging is that I think we just need more people on a panel. I think more 6 people on a panel, again, no matter how qualified they are, 6 people when they're split across 2 panels, you've only got 3 per score sheet.
That's a lot.
That can give one person a lot of power. And again, I know what I sign up for. I'm trusting the qualifications, but in this space where it can be very preferential, I just prefer this style over this style when I'm on a choreography score sheet, one person can influence. So I actually think like what would benefit us is maybe having more judges and being able to drop like high and low versus saying we need to know who all of these judges are. What would I do with that information? I don't know. I'm sure in the moment I would like spiral about stuff, but like I wouldn't necessarily change my approach in how I'm prepping or how I'm showing up at the competition based on
the judges.
Person A is going to be on the panel.
That makes sense.
Because then I think that's also not being true to like the intent of the competition.
Yeah. Amber Jackson. Did you see her video?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She mentioned dropping the high. I'm pretty sure she mentioned dropping the highs and lows, and that has never crossed my mind before. I love that idea. They used to do that, didn't they?
Yes. So back when I think like years ago, there used to probably be like 10 people on a panel. Yeah. So yeah, you would drop high and low because again, that takes out some of the influence that one single person can have on the results. And at the end of the day, though, like if one person who is qualified to be judging feels strongly about something, that is their prerogative, right? Like
for sure.
I know what I signed up for, but I think it removes the risk of 1 to 2 people like really like I'm gonna not that I think judges are doing this, but in theory, I could give this team a 99. Oh, I know other judges like this team. I'm gonna give them an 82. You know, it's like, and again, do I think that's happening? No. But I think dropping the high and low, if you had more judges, makes a lot of sense. I think in the current setup, I get why they don't. There's not enough judges. And I would argue too, because they are being like UDA specifically is being very specific about who they feel is qualified to judge. And so, yes, and I think too, especially as college dance team is becoming more popular. I know one thing that a lot of companies are very specific about is making sure that people that have ties to any teams are not on the panels.
Yeah.
As this becomes more popular, that's harder to do.
That's what I was going to say because I hate to say it, but like I do see ties to teams whenever I'm looking. Yeah. I didn't look much into the jazz panel for UDA, but I looked at Palm. I looked a lot into hip hop. But I did see some ties to teams or like friends with coaches, it seems like. But it's like, what? You're right. Like,
I think like in this industry, the dance world, the dance world is big, but the dance world is small.
It is.
If you're trying to find people qualified to judge college nationals that don't know a single college coach or choreographer,
it's hard.
There's no one that's going to be qualified to actually know that space, right?
And to go through all the training, like to find someone that's going to dedicate time. Yeah. This is something that I was thinking, and I've been going back and forth in my head about the hip hop panel is like, finding those, because I'm like, I would love to see a Trisha Miranda on the hip hop panel. Yeah. But is Trisha Miranda going to spend 40 hours trying to do the varsity training? Probably not. Right. So, like, I think about that as well, too. You got to find, it's hard to find those dedicated people who are going to spend.
Invested in
you
this
have
space.
To be invested.
Yeah. And yes, because this is a different world, right? This isn't,
very different.
This isn't showbiz.
No.
This isn't, this isn't, YAGP. This isn't,
it's dance team.
It's dance team, right? It is different.
It's its own lane.
And that's part of as you look at like these industry choreographers coming in, there's that learning curve for them too, right? And I think like as when we brought in like Talia or Tassandra, like it's so fun watching them like research and get invested. And like you can tell, you look at Shannon Mather, you look at Teddy Forens, like all these industry names that don't have dance team ties that are coming into choreograph, you can tell they're doing their research and they're trying to think, how can I elevate this space and still put my mark on it? But they are still doing the work and being invested to still want to show up authentically in what dance team is while still pushing the industry forward. And I think that's what's so cool. And so, as you're looking at judges who is going to be invested in understanding the space, still bringing their own authentic perspective, but understanding like the needs and the requirements of this space are different than maybe what another space would be asking for. And then are they qualified enough to be able to remove themselves from, and here's the thing, just because like you maybe like taught a UDA summer camp with an instructor 15 years ago versus actively working as like a consultant on a team, like those are two different things.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think I I think that's where it gets tricky to find people that are going to be invested and qualified that aren't actively involved with a team. And so I think, again, that's where we have to trust these competitions. As a coach, if I don't trust that, that's on me for going to that competition.
Yeah.
Then.
Very true. All right, I have a hot topic. It's probably the hottest topic of U of M this season. I feel like you might even know where I'm going with this. Matthew Greco.
Yeah.
Did a judge comment about his headpiece?
The Rocky Mountain Pop-Up Summit is back for year 2. Join us March 1st, 2026 at Cherokee Trail High School in Aurora, Colorado for a one-day recruiting experience with real impact. Dancers of classes 2026 to 2029 will connect with college coaches, practice audition skills, and receive meaningful feedback. Recruiters attend at no cost. Parents and coaches gain insight to support their dancer. Add the Golden Hour VIP experience and a free Sharpen Up Movement Band training class. Rocky Mountain Pop-Up Summit, where preparation meets opportunity. Dance Team Supply is a proud sponsor of the No Counts Given podcast. We exist to make training clear, cleaner, and way more intentional for dancers and coaches. From technique tools to team essentials, we've got what you need to train smarter and show up stronger. Oh, and yes, we are the home of the viral Sharpen Up movement bands. From practice to performance, we've got it. Visit us online at danceteamsupply.com.
They did not actually. No.
Was
no.
that just like an artistic choice?
It was an artistic choice. Yeah. We, honestly, we just got some comments of people being like, I couldn't tell it was Matt. And I think he just like is so critical to kind of the storyline of the routine. And also full transparency, like we had to like bubble braid his hair to get that headpiece to stick in. And so it was like solid, but I think like we were just like, like there's always those nerves. But no, there actually were not any judges' comments about it. I mean, if anybody knows me, they know I love to make a little last minute change while I'm down there. And I think too, you know, it's like we came out, and that's not to say like, oh, like he's a boy, so we were just trying to get points because he's a boy. But when you think about the storyline, it ties in, you know, and again, I want to be clear, no comments on the score sheets about this. Okay. You know, we tend to costume map very similarly to the females intentionally. Some people, I think, are fine with that. Some people probably have some natural biases about wanting to see males maybe costumed more masculine. And so really there was not a single comment on the score sheet about it. This was us just, you know, guess what? We came out of prelims. We were in 4th in our category. I also think like when people are like, oh, okay, comparing panels A to B, some education people, you cannot compare panels from prelims. The judges are different.
Yeah.
So you have panel A, panel B.
You never know
how
what
they
a judge is scoring. Yeah.
Yes, like I think one panel will naturally be higher or lower. So while yes, the comments can be like relevant, you can't necessarily compare scores of prelims. And that's for any competition when the panels are not the same. So a little education moment. Like, so while we were in 4th in our semi or in our prelims group, we were also like, okay, like what are things we can do, right? Like we made a few tweaks and we were like, hey, let's see if taking off his headpiece helps, because then from a communication and projection standpoint, that story maybe becomes a little clearer because you can actually connect with him a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. When did you, when was the choice? Okay, actually, no, back up a little bit, Kyle. When did you guys start jazz choreography? Was it late this season?
No, we finished learning it early October.
Okay.
We kind of broke it out across a few different weekends. So we started, I think our first session was maybe like end of August.
Oh, wow.
And then like finished it in October.
Nice.
Yeah.
When did you decide like, okay, I'm going to bring in Ava to do choreography, and like what went behind that decision?
Yeah, so we knew we wanted to do this song. We kind of had the inkling after nationals.
Okay.
And then after ICU, we really were like, okay, I think this is the song we want to go with. And not, I think like a lot of, you know, there's, you know, if people want to think it was like a petty song choice, that's fine. It wasn't meant to be petty. I think it really is about being able to dance out that feeling of like coming so close to a goal multiple times in a row and not getting it. Right? It actually like I've been doing this long enough. I've won how many? I think I personally have won 21 national championships with UDA. I don't need to be petty.
Yeah. Yeah, you know
I
what?
don't. You know what I mean? I don't.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And so like it isn't about being petty. It was about being able to kind of dance out that feeling.
But tell a story.
And tell a story that like truly was so specific to us, right? For the last, 3 competitions to come so close to that goal and get second. That was something that like we felt really close to. And so I kind of knew that was the song I wanted to do. I knew actually that I thought my assistant coach, Lauren Busen, would be a really, really good fit for choreo. Wow. And as we were talking to her, she was like, I don't want to do it by myself. And at that point, Ava had already kind of talked to us about moving to LA and kind of starting to pursue that career. And we knew that Ava was still going to be like involved with the team.
For sure.
However she wanted to be. And so when we were kind of talking to Lauren, like as a coaching staff, we were like, what if it's Ava that comes in? And it was kind of like instantly like, yeah, that feels right. And so we kind of pulled Ava aside and we're like, hey, would you ever be, and I like didn't even get the word like out before she was like, yes, let's do it. And so it was just really fun to like, I think it was a great way for her to kind of continue to transition to like still get to be so involved with this team. And this family that means so much to her.
For sure.
While also getting to like pursue her professional career. And it was, again, a story that for those two, they also, like they've been a part of it, right? And so it just felt so close to our hearts to be able to do that truly. Like
as Minnesota.
And like I said, like, the words of the song, whatever, and we ended up getting third. I will say I have never been more proud of a third place medal than I am of that, because like there's just something so almost cathartic about getting to dance out those feelings and kind of release that pressure of like that expectation. And so there's just something really really meaningful about kind of the fight to the finish with that placement. And then it's like, and again, I removed myself from social media. I still don't have TikTok.
I was gonna ask.
I hear what people say, and it's like all the people, people have not even hot, people can be mean, and I'm like, you're the exact reason why this dance was needed for us, right? All the people like, overrated, mid, seen
Mid.
better, so over, like you're the reason why we had to do this dance, because it's like sometimes it feels like nothing you do is good enough. And you know what? Was this good enough to get first place? Not in the eyes of those 6 people on the panel that day. Was it good enough to tell the story and accomplish what we needed to accomplish? Yeah. And like I said, I've never been more proud of a third place medal in my life.
I love that. That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And I've been wondering that since, because you guys posted that Ava did it, I think it was like in December. And I was like, did they really just learn their...
No, we had learned it for a while. We just hadn't really
I would trust,
anything.
I mean, if you guys did, I wouldn't be surprised. Because you guys did that ICU routine. You said 13 practices. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, we learned it. We just never really posted about it. So.
Okay, let's talk about Palm.
Yeah.
Year after year, I just love the Palm that you guys bring. It's funny because your seniors this year, their freshman year was my first time like covering UDA.
Yeah.
So seeing just how like you guys have brought an elevation to Palm year after year, I don't know. I love it. It's always like my favorite Palm routines. I love them.
Thank you.
What was the story behind what's frozen?
Frozen in snow comes forth in the thaw.
There you go. What does that mean?
I think I have on my phone a notes app of just like random quotes that I love. And I think I'd seen like an influencer like post that one time, and I was like, ooh, that's good. Like we're from Minnesota. It's cold. It was -20 last week. I think it's more, it's just kind of like that mentality of like where we're from. Like it's, like it just really speaks to like the heart of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like it's cold up here, but like we put in the work, and like when we get down to this competition, like we shine, and we elevate. So
what's that collaboration process look like for choreography?
Yeah.
Because go ahead.
Yeah, no. So Anna Hilty and I work together on choreo. She's phenomenal. The process really starts with the music.
Okay.
So we work with Rory from Sound Moda. He is a genius.
Insane.
So Anna and I, we just have lots of conversations, lots of voice notes going back and forth about like concepts and ideas. And Anna, I will say Anna does all the heavy lifting with the music. Every once in a while I'll be like, hey, I have like this quote, this concept, this song, or like I'll send a voice note and be like, I think this part needs to be like, and bless Rory, he listens to that and he's like, I know exactly what you need. So we do a lot of collaboration on the music. I think like by the time we competed, it was like version like 27 of the mix. But then once we have the mix, Anna and I will kind of talk through like, okay, we think we want this to happen here. We'll kind of like plot out some of the bigger moments, but then it's kind of just like it unfolds as it goes. Sometimes we do the staging first, and we'll kind of like walk through what we think we want the pattern to be, and then we'll fill in the choreo. Sometimes it's like, hey, this part, we know we want this movement, and then we'll be like, okay, how can that move? Should it move? So it really is just, we kind of work piece by piece. Some parts come together like so fast.
Wow.
Some parts you're like,
version 15.
Yeah, my team likes to joke. I'm like, I need to noodle on this one. I say that a lot. My new one this year is like, I'll sauce that nug later. So there were a lot of nuggets that had to get sauced a little bit later in the season. So like we would leave, we left choreo weekend and we're like, okay, we'll fill this part in. Like right now you're literally just walking for 8 counts. We'll figure out how we get you from here to here. We'll figure it out. That nugget will get sauced. It's not sauced yet. So, but I think with Palm especially, like it is ever evolving. There are parts that we were still changing, like, a couple days before we went, because it's like you're constantly tweaking, trying to, make after you perform, like, okay, this transition still isn't hitting. How do we make that transition like quicker? How do we make that visual, like that visual still isn't reading the way we thought it would? How do we? So it's kind of constantly evolving. Yeah, Anna does all the heavy lifting on the music. Her and Rory is literally a king. And then we just we build it as we go with like little pieces, we know we want this here. And then we just evolve as the season progresses.
Amazing. I have one last question for you, but it might lead into another one. If Netflix ever reached out to you for a TV show, would you do it?
We've actually said no.
You've actually said no?
Yeah.
Does Ohio have a Netflix show coming out?
I have no idea. I don't know. I really don't know. After Dream On, we probably had like 15 different production companies reach out.
I'm sure.
About doing a docuseries.
Why no?
I know personally, I can't, like, as much good as comes from that, you also open yourself up to a lot of negativity. And I know I am not mentally tough enough for that. I think on paper that can seem really fun.
Yeah.
I think unless we're able to provide additional like mental health resources and things like that for our team. I also know that those shows, for the nature of storytelling, tend to lean into just a few. And for us, it's really about the team. And so I felt really passionately about, if we were to do something like this, I need it to be about the team, not a few individuals on the team. And the reality is that's just like not how those shows work. And so I never wanted our story to be dictated by a few, when I think there is value in all 23 on the team. Like that is part of our magic, is that it is about the 23. So while maybe on social media people are like, oh, Matt, see, Ava, whoever, like that's great that you think that. Like internally, there's no difference in how they're approached. And I think that's how we talk about it with recruiting. Like, the way I approach recruiting, I'm not necessarily trying to like, I say wine and dine as if any dance teams like have budget to like wine and dine dancers. But you know what I mean? Like it really, I'm not trying to like sell dancers on like, you're going to come here and be a star. No, you're going to come here and be a part of a team.
Period.
And so for us, it didn't feel like the right choice, knowing how those shows tend to focus on individuals. Do I think that this space deserves to have stories told about it? 100.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't think we were the right team to do it because of how I wanted to prioritize team over individuals. So that is truly why we said no. I hope there are teams that have said yes, and I hope that something does come out. And we still are getting requests, and there are instances where I'll take meetings and like, okay, like tell me more about kind of what your
idea
is, what your approach is, because there could be people that I would trust enough to do that. But I think most of the approaches, and I'll also be honest, a lot of people approached us of like, we want to talk about the rivalry between Minnesota and Ohio, and I was like, hard pass, like no, you know what I mean? I'm like,
Did they not listen to our first episode?
Right. I'm like, that rivalry is being created by you.
Yes.
And so yeah, just for us, like it was the right thing for me to say no, because I knew what I wanted to prioritize for our team, and I knew that based on the makeup of our team, they would lean into a few, and I didn't want that. And so I hope, like I said, I hope there are teams out there that have done this, and I hope that their story gets told in an authentic way that they feel good with. I think lack a lot of trust to
I don't blame you.
That it would be done in a way that I felt comfortable with.
It's also just scary because as soon as those cameras are off, you have no control of that editing or the stories or the direction it's going to go. And they will tell you one thing and then it's going to flip. So I don't blame you.
It's not that we have anything to hide. I know for, like I said, I can't even be on TikTok. Why do I think I should have my season showcased on Netflix so then millions of people can watch it?
Our opinion.
Yeah, I'm like, I know my own mental health cannot handle that.
No, I don't blame you. Honestly, same. Yeah. It is 9:52.
Okay.
I need to get you out of here. It is Prodigy time.
I gotta go recruit.
It is time. I have more questions for you, but I guess there's going to be a part 3 at some point.
We can do it, yeah.
Thank you, Amanda, for coming on the show. I appreciate your time.
Yes, of course.
I have another question, but it's going to be off camera.
Sounds good.